Hello, Monarchs. Welcome to the first video for lesson 7.8. Today we'll be graphing different functions. So we've done graphing before. This is very similar to that, but it's different in the fact that we're going to have some exponents when we're graphing our functions now. Okay. So turn the light on, see if it makes it a little brighter. There we go. All right. So we'll just get straight into it. Today we're graphing functions. So I always like to highlight our title. Graphing functions. So when we say a function, our line, the equation for our line is always a function. So that is a function, okay? The function is 2x plus 1. We are given some inputs, so some values for x. We're supposed to find out what y is when these values are plugged in for x, okay? So right now I have y equals 2x plus 1, and I have a bunch of values for x. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to plug in this value, and then I'll see what I get for my y. So for this first equation right here, we're going to have 2 times negative 2 plus 1. Okay, 2 times negative 2 plus 1. We subbed in that negative 2 for an x. And that's because my x value there was negative 2. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 1 would be negative 3. Okay. We're going to do that same substitution for all of these numbers. So now we're going to sub in a negative 1 for x. So we're going to sub in a negative 1 for x. So 2 times negative 1 would be negative 2. And negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Okay. If we plugged in a 0, we would get 2 times 0. That is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. If we plugged in a 1, we would get 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. And if we plugged in a 2, you would see that we would get 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So now that we have our table complete, the next step is to graph. Okay, next we're going to graph this. So our first point that we want to graph, here's my x, here's my y. Our first point I want to graph is negative 2, comma negative 3. So I go to negative 2 and then down 3, and my first point is right there. Next, I have negative 1, so I go down negative 1, negative 1. Now I have 0, comma 1. 0, 1 is right there. I have 1, 3, 1, 3, and I have 2, 5, 2, 5. Once I have drawn in all my points, I can connect them and make my line. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm using my tissue box straight edge today. So I make my line, and I make sure to include my arrows. Now that function is graphed. That is all we will be doing for these different problems. Okay. So again, I'm going to sub in my x values for x. So I'm going to highlight my x in orange. And then we're highlighting all of these. So we're inputting all of these numbers into this equation for x. So first, I would have negative 2 times negative 2, right? Negative 2 times negative 2, that would give me a positive 4. Then I have negative 2 times negative 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 would be a positive 2. Negative 2 times 0 would be 0. Negative 2 times 1 would be negative 2. And negative 2 times 2 would be negative 4. Okay. So again, I have all my points. I'm just going to plot them and then draw my line through them. So my first point is negative 2, 4. So I go to negative 2. Negative 2 is here. And then I want to go up 4 to right there. Then I have negative 1, comma 2. So I go negative 1, up 2. 0, 0 is right there. 1, negative 2. 1, negative 2. And 2, negative 4. 2, negative 4. Now that all my points are drawn, I can draw my line using a straight edge. So I will draw my line. My line should look just like this when I'm done drawing it. Okay. So there's my line through my points, and it's not done yet because it does not have arrows. So I need to make sure to add on my arrows. Okay. So that's the first video for lesson 7.8. Stay tuned for the videos to come.